have a role in keeping people in remission. Here's a study of people with Crohn's disease in remission, and so this is involving a preparation called DSL-3, which is simply a multi-species high-potency probiotic based around Streptococcus pneumophilis. And here you see that this is a study that shows probiotics don't work, right? But there's only 40 patients. There was a 50% reduction in relapses, but the numbers were not significant. So is this 50% reduction not real? It's just by chance, or was it not significant because this is an underpowered study? Probably an underpowered study. That's the problem with probiotic studies, is they often have too small of a sample size, and that might be why probiotics in the literature turned out to be disappointing in inflammatory bowel disease. They're not disappointing in the treatment of pouchitis, and again, most of the data comes from DSL-3, this high-potency multi-species probiotic, and is clearly effective. Now, one of the things about probiotics is it's become clear that single probiotic species don't work in inflammatory bowel disease. They just don't work. But combining them with inulin, so for example, prebiotics, so for example, in the study here at the bottom where they combined inulin and fructooligosaccharides with Bifidobacterium longum, they had great results. 18 patients, active ulcerative colitis, and they were assessed clinically, sigmoidoscopically, and histologically, and they had significant improvement clinically and improvement in their sigmoidoscopy scores and decreased tissue inflammation, increased healing. So the combination of Bifidobacterium probiotic with prebiotics is beneficial in this population. People have looked at an open-label study of inulin alone, 15 grams a day. Don't start anybody at 15 grams a day, but work up to that. And again, significant improvement and also increased Bifidobacterium populations. Prebiotics are a great way of increasing Bifidobacterium populations. And again, inulin has been used alone in pouchitis, again, with some benefit. So probiotics plus prebiotics are the way to go in inflammatory bowel disease. So my suggestions for inflammatory bowel disease, for remission, use Saccharomyces boulardii. I tend to advise people if they get a response to go a month without it, 3 months on, a month without, just because Saccharomyces boulardii isn't part of the normal microbiota. For Crohn's disease, I would combine that with inulin-based prebiotics and a multi-species high-potency probiotic in the dose range of 200 to 400 billion CFU a day. For ulcerative colitis, the dosing, same dose for Saccharomyces boulardii, higher doses for the multi-species probiotics for the range of 400 to 800 billion CFU. For pouchitis, multi-species probiotics with inulin-based prebiotics are the way to go. Irritable bowel syndrome. This is a common problem, 10 to 20% of adults. It tends to be a benign disorder, benign that not going to cause people a lot of history because it does, but benign that you don't die from it. It's characterized by abdominal pain, bloating, constipation. There are problems with intestinal motility. There's increased visceral sensitivity, and we know that people with irritable bowel syndrome have GI dysbiosis. They have decreased lactobacillus and Conestoga populations and increased Clostridium ruminococcus and Vela populations. They have this increased hypersensitivity. One of the things that we now know is that probiotic organisms can modulate the production of perception of gut pain. This is a study from Nature Medicine 2007 where they looked at Lactobacillus acidophilus, and basically what they found was that Lactobacillus acidophilus increased the numbers of opioid and cannabinoid receptors in this mouse model and was as effective at relieving pain as morphine. So modulation of pain perception may be part of why probiotics are beneficial in irritable bowel syndrome. In a meta-analysis of 19 randomized controlled trials, probiotics were significantly better than placebo, and the risk reduction was 0.71. So there was a 29% improvement. The number needed to treat was small, it was 4, but do keep in mind they're not going to work for everybody. You're going to have to treat 4 people before you see one improvement. The organisms that are found to be efficacious, Bifidobacterium infantis, Lactobacillus plantarum, and again, high-dose multi-species probiotics. I definitely recommend. Sorry to interrupt you. I just want to jump in real quick because we just have a couple minutes left, right? And we have a hard out at the top of the hour, so I was just going to give you a chance to sort of wrap up and then maybe take over control too and do a wrap up. Okay. So basically, with irritable bowel syndrome, what I recommend is 200 to 400 billion CFU a day. Consider inulin, although I'm doing that less and less. If there's a response, you may take it indefinitely. You need to rule out food sensitivity, food allergies, and consider digestive enzymes. Just with allergies, dermatitis, this is a pandemic. It's affecting a lot of people. Altered gut microbiota is implicated. We know that a number of different probiotic organisms induce immune tolerance can be beneficial. When people have done meta-analyses, they found that probiotics are important and effective in reducing the incidence and severity of allergies. They're effective when given to pregnant women. They're effective when given to breastfeeding women to reduce allergies in the infants. And they have been shown to reduce atopic dermatitis and eczema during 7 years of follow-up. Probiotics also reduce symptoms and improve quality of life measures in allergic rhinitis. Probiotic selection, basically monostrain, multi-strain, multi-species probiotics. The evidence really favors multi-species probiotics. Although you will constantly hear it said that benefits are strain specific. This is a marketing claim, and there's very little science that backs that up, even though academics and regulators are inheriting this. It would require head-to-head studies, and these are rare. And when we look at the reason for this, there's not very much difference between strains. So this is gene sequencing in a patented strain like Lactobacillus acidophilus NCFM and Lactobacillus acidophilus LA14, which we use in our probiotics, and they are 99.98% identical. And the differences that are there are of no importance. Start low at 10 to 25 billion a day and increase slowly. This minimizes symptoms of gas, abdominal discomfort, and diarrhea. I suggest taking probiotics with food. The reason for that is that the pH of the stomach with food is significantly higher. Probiotic survival will be better than if you take it on an empty stomach. Probiotics are safe. Doses actually greater than 3.6 trillion have been used in adults, and 110 billion CFU per kilogram in infants have been used.
Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar entitled The Lifestyle Factor, Utilizing Testing to Encourage Behavior Change. Our speaker today is Dr. Michael Chapman. My name is Christine Stubbe and I'm a medical education specialist at Genova's Asheville branch. I am going to serve as the moderator for today's webinar. We would like to welcome Dr. Michael Chapman. Michael Chapman is a licensed naturopathic physician who graduated from Vassar University in Seattle, Washington. Upon graduation, he spent 3 years in private practice before joining the team at Genova Diagnostics. His area of clinical focus includes hormone regulation, gastrointestinal health, and autonomic balance. Prior to medical school, Dr. Chapman earned his Bachelor of Science degree from Indiana University with a focus in neuropsychology.
As well as a link to my blog and the blog page which accompanies this session. All the source code for any projects included in this session will be found on the blog page, along with any links and URLs used in the session. So we're going to get started today by opening up a project from yesterday, our endpoint, and we'll see how we can extend that with YAML documentation, and how we can use the Swagger UI to go browse that documentation. We're then going to take a look at some interoperability options, connecting to our EMS services using HTML and JavaScript, and doing the same using Visual Studio and C#. It had been my original intention to include using Swagger CodeGen for this session to demonstrate how to generate SDKs for JavaScript and C# using an automated tool. Unfortunately, got into technical difficulties working with that tool, I wasn't able to prepare that for this demonstration today. Once I've resolved those technical issues, I will of course update the accompanying blog post for this session. Instead, what we're going to do today is I'll show you how to build these SDKs manually for JavaScript and for C#. So let's go ahead and open up our endpoint project from yesterday, and we'll take a look at how to add YAML documentation to it. Okay, so now we need to add the YAML documentation to our endpoint. YAML is a documentation format that's a subset of JSON, so it's a human-readable format. But it effectively performs the same function for JSON REST services as WSDL documents did for SOAP services, if you're familiar with those. So effectively, it describes each of the available endpoints and method calls in a human-readable and machine-readable way. For more information, check out the wiki page on YAML, and link to which you'll find on the blog post which accompanies this session. Today I'm going to be using a tool called Swagger UI. Again, there's a link on the blog post for this. This is available over on GitHub, and this is a tool that allows you to open up, read, and browse the YAML documents which will be generated by EMS Server. So I'm going to go ahead and download this as a zip file. And once I have that downloaded, I'm going to go ahead and open up my download folder here, please. And I'll extract the zip into a new folder. Okay, within that folder, I'm going to go ahead and browse in and go to the dist directory. And within here, we have an index.html. So if I open that up, that's going to open a browser window onto the Swagger UI, which is the documentation viewer. I'm going to go ahead and start up my EMS server without our endpoint in it. And the reason for that is I haven't added YAML documentation tags to our endpoint yet, which will cause the YAML document tools to fail. But for the moment, let's go ahead and open up in a web browser. We can see localhost 8080 version. I'm going to change this to API, and that will send back a piece of JSON which describes the available API documentation. And we're interested, as I said, in the YAML, so that's api.yaml. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the end of my URL. And this gives us back the YAML documentation for EMS Server. It's quite a lengthy document already with nothing installed in the server, and that's because it's providing all of the existing functionality of that server in the document. So I'm going to take this document link and take a copy and bring that over into Swagger UI. Now, place it in here, but when I click on Explore, it's going to fail to read that document. Actually, it hasn't failed, it's succeeded. But if on your system it does happen to fail, the reason is often because we're not hosting the Swagger UI. So what I've done is I've installed an extension into my Chrome browser. The extension is called Allow Control, Allow Origin. And that gives you this little icon button up here in the browser. If you find that when you try to explore your YAML document it doesn't work, then you can use this plugin to enable, or rather disable and re-enable cross-origin resource sharing. And the reason for this is that the domain, the localhost, is not the same domain as index is coming from because of browsing from file. So the browser security kicks in and prevents you from reading the document. Okay, so having read that document, we can see here that we have all of the existing endpoints for the EMS server. So we've got our API documentation, any edge modules we have installed, groups, users, push notifications, and so on. We'll drag this to one side for a moment and we'll put some documentation tags into our code. Okay, so on our endpoint here, we have a get method which returns all records of the employee database table, and we have a get item which returns a single row. Now, we need to add some declarations to these, and we're going to start by adding, I'm going to copy paste it, these are kind of lengthy tags, but I'm going to add some declarations to the get method. We're using two tags here, endpoint request summary and endpoint response details. More information about these tags can be found on the documentation within Embarcadero's.wiki, and again a link to this documentation will appear at the end of the blog post for this session. So, let's look at what I'm putting in. Well, the endpoint request summary starts with this block parameter here, which is actually called the tag. What this means is, where is the endpoint with regards to the server? So, when I put the URL into my browser and I put localhost 8080, I do /employee, and that's why I'm putting employee in here as the tag. The next parameter here is a summary, so a brief description of what this endpoint function is going to do. So I'm putting in all records, saying that this is going to return all records. We then get another descriptive entry here, so this is called description, and you can put a lengthier returns all employee records or something more with more detail. We then get this tag here for producers, and this is saying, what does this endpoint, when I call it, what does it produce? Well, it's going to produce JSON text, because we described JSON data coming out of DB select. So I'm going to pass back in my type application JSON. And then this final tag here is, what do we consume? This is another MIME type, saying what type of data request, and we don't have any parameters, so this isn't consuming anything. I'm going to leave that blank. It'll actually default to text type, but since there's no text coming in, it's not going to do anything. So that's describing the method. And we don't need to describe the response to this method or send back. Now, you can send back one of any number of different response codes. So HTTP has a number of well-defined response codes, one of which is 200. 200 means I made a request to the HTTP server and it came back successfully. So 200 is the OK code. So I'm just simplifying for this method what happens if everything goes well. You could add in here response details for various error codes like 500 internal server error or for a full page or resource not found. But I'm just going to go ahead and put in the OK for this method right now. The next parameter of this tag is the data type that's going to be returned. Well, we're returning a JSON array, so I put in SP array. Now, I could choose from a number of different options here. I could send back a straight Boolean piece of data or an integer and so on, but in this case, I'm just sending back an array. So, the next primitive format is, if I'm sending back an array, I'm sending back an array of what? I mean, I could just be sending back an integer or a string, so I could choose integer or string or byte or one of the other types. But in this case, what I'm sending back is an array, and it's an array of objects. And because objects aren't actually defined as a primitive type, I'm telling it no. I'm not sending a primitive data type for the return, I'm resetting an object, which is the next parameter. So I'm going to send back an array of objects. So then I need to describe that object. And because this is a single line tag, I don't have anywhere to describe it. So what I'm going to do instead is put in this parameter, which is going to reference a description of an employee object. That means we need to define the employee object. So I'm going to do a little bit of copy pasting here. I'm going to put a constant string, which defines my employee object. I put this anywhere in my code, but I'm just going to put it up here at the top for now. So I'm basically saying this is my employee object, and the properties of that object are, so I have an employee number, and the type of that property is integer, and the first name, which is type string, and so on. So that's describing the objects that I'm sending back. But how do I link it to definitions of employee objects? Well, for that I need another tag. So I'm going to get, I'm calling these tags attributes. Forgive me for the incorrect terminology there. So this attribute is going to be the endpoint object YAML definitions. So I'm basically saying I'm going to add a definition into the document's definitions section, and the definition that I'm adding is C-YAML employee. Well, that's my constant up here, defining employee object. So now my reference to the definition section, employee object, is complete. So this is the documentation for this one method, but unfortunately, if I try to run this module without completing the second method, the YAML document will be incomplete and the server won't start up. So I'm going to go ahead and copy paste in the parameters, or rather the attributes for the get item method as well. So again, we have a request endpoint summary. This time I'm sending an employee/item. Remember the item is extended to a URL, so I'm going to send in the item on the URL here. Of course, I'm giving this a very quick summary. Get employee records, so we get a single record, and then the lengthy description returns employee record by number. I'm returning application JSON, and actually this parameter right here is not needed. I'm not consuming any data from the request log. Then we have the endpoint request parameter. So in this case, I am sending a parameter up. So I'm saying this is a T parameter in, and it's on the path, as in that is on the URL to our endpoint. And the parameter name is item. A description for that, specify the employee number. Forget what the true parameter is, and just going to quickly look that up. True determines whether or not this parameter is required, or for this endpoint it is, so that's true. We have secretive type. Well, this parameter is a type string, that's what I'm accepting. Then we have the primitive format. Now again, I'm putting in none, and the reason is, we don't have a string in here. If I put in none, it's going to use the default formatting of string, so that's going to give me a string return type, string parameter type. At this point, we need to give the item type. Now, this is accepted, the parameter looks like it's being accepted twice. In the case of simple string, it is. This parameter here is actually here for, as you see before, when you pass in an array, we can give the type of object within the array. So I'm just going to go ahead and pass in string. I believe I could pass in none at this point. Yes, no, so I'm just going to pass in string and do the same thing again. And then we're being asked for a schema for the parameter. Well, we're not passing in an object, so we don't need to give it a schema. And we're being asked for a reference to the definition of the object. Again, we're not passing an object, so we don't need to push that in. Okay, and then we come to endpoint response details, and we're doing the same again. We're giving a 200 OK response. We're returning an array. The array doesn't have a primitive format. It should be an object. And we're returning definitions for each object. And I don't need to reference employee object again because I've already referenced it here. So that's going to include that into the definition section. So that's both of my methods documented. Let's go and see what that looks like when we explore it using Swagger. So I started up my EMS server with our module in it, and I've opened the browser, and I don't really need to go through this piece again, but let's do it one more time. We'll go to API.YAML gives us the YAML definition. Now if I go and do a quick search in here for employee objects, we can see that we're referencing employee object here, and this actually is our employee endpoint get method. This is giving us the summary descriptions. You can see here that we're passing in 3 parameters. Now these aren't parameters that we set on the method. These are parameters that are set in the headers by the EMS server. So we can safely ignore these 3 parameters. This method has no parameters going in as far as we're concerned. And then in the responses we've got our 200 OK, we're referencing the employee object. If I take a look underneath that, we've got the employee object with an item parameter. And again, we're passing in these 3 header parameters as default for the EMS server, but then we're also passing in on the path, so on the URL. The employee number, it is required, and it's a string. And then in the responses, we can see again, I'm referencing the employee object. So if I search that employee object one more time, and I'll show you the definition, let me take a quick look down here. Okay, it appears it may be missing from my definition, so I'm going to take a quick look at the attributes that we put in here. And I tell you what I think needs to be done. I think I need to move this reference up here onto the class. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a try. Yes, so now I have 3 instances of this. This is my reference. And here is the object itself being pushed into our YAML document under the definition section. So that's how we can reference definitions of employee object. So now that the document's looking correct, let's go around it in Swagger UI. So I still have this document open. Let's go ahead and hit Explore again to refresh it. And we can see now that we have an employee endpoint added to our document. So we'll go ahead and take a look inside the employee endpoint here. You can see that we have one get method. We're going to take a look under the get method. We actually have an example of what the return record should look like from this method. We have 3 EMS header parameters which we can ignore, and we don't have to put any parameters in. You can see return all employee records being returned in the documentation, and so on. So we'll go ahead and try this method now. We can see that it is returning all of the data from our endpoint. We've got a response code of 200, and that's our response data. Okay, so let's take a look at the second version, the itemized, and we have employee/item. So I'm going to take a look at here, returns employee record by employee number, and we can see that we have the 3 header parameters for EMS, plus our item, which is required. And I'm going to look for item 5 again, I'm going to look for item 3 this time, so go ahead and hit try it out. And we can see I didn't get anything back, so there is no employee number 3. Okay, so we'll try number 5. And here we can see we get Kim Lambert and Kim Say come back from the method. Okay, so we've seen how we can have YAML documentation to our custom endpoints, but what about our pinpoints? Well, yesterday we created this EMS pinpoint, which reads data from a joystick and allows us to query that. The truth is we don't actually need to do anything to document our pinpoints. So if we take a look here at the resource that we built yesterday for reading the joystick, we added a lot of runtime type information tags. Now, these are used by the EMS server to generate basic documentation in YAML for our pinpoint. So I'm going to go ahead and start up our pinpoint here. I have our EMS development server running in the background. So when we start this up, we're going to go ahead and register and activate this pinpoint. So this is now collecting data from our joystick and making it available to the EMS server. So take a look again in our Swagger UI. I'm going to explore our API again, and I'm going to come under Edge Modules. And we have a get method for getting the Edge modules which are installed. So I'm going to go ahead and run this, and we can see our EMS pinpoint is installed. Okay, so how do we get the joystick data? Well, again, under Edge module, we have Edge module resources, and we just check to make sure that under the EMS pinpoint, we have a version API, and most importantly, a joystick resource. So now we close up the Edge module section and step into the Edge module focus. We have a get